Alrighty, CNT125, we're working on the Ipv6 lab, mainly the Ipv6 routing lab. I've downloaded a copy of the lab. I have that here as a PDF ready to go. I've actually consoled into my first router and have that ready to go. But before we even get to any of that, let's make sure we understand what we're doing on this lab. I'm going to scroll to the second page here, and here is our network map. We're basically redoing the routing lab we've done, as well as the subnet application lab. 2 routers, 2 switches, 2 workstations, kind of simulating Harrisburg to York kind of thing, or Harrisburg to Pittsburgh kind of thing. But this time through, instead of using IP4, everything we're going to do in here is going to be IP6. So we have the same layout of router to router, your router to switch here, router to switch. We're using the same interfaces. Fast Ethernet 01 here to Gigabit Ethernet 001. Fast Ethernet 00 here to our switch. Gigabit Ethernet 000 here to this switch on our workstations plugged in. So the cabling layout is the same. So I've actually already cabled up my network over here off to the side. The next thing we want to do is we want to take a look at our IP scheme. Now, if we remember with Ipv6 addresses, we have hexadecimal numbering for our IP scheme. So what you have labeled here is I actually have labeled the different networks that we're using. If I look at this first leg over here, this first LAN, what we find out is I showed you the subnet that's over here. This network or this subnet is the FC00:A::A::A network. And I'm just showing you the first half of the address. That's why I have the /64 there. The first 64 bits are essentially the network and subnet. So this over here is the FC00:A::A::A network. The actual interface address, as we find out when we configure this, the tail end of this is actually going to get assigned by the router. The router is going to use essentially its MAC address for that interface to drop into the tail end here to make this full Ipv6 address. Okay? So right now, I'm just paying attention to the network. This is the FC00:A::A::A network. If I look at the link up top here, I see it's the FC00:A::A::B network or subnet. Over here on the right, I see it's the FC00:A::A::C network or subnet. So we essentially have the A network or A subnet, B network or B subnet, and the C network or C subnet. And again, the tail end of the address is not filled in because the router is going to do that for us, and then we will need to look it up to find out what it is. We will see that when we configure. But that is our layout, that is our plan. So first thing you want to do is, after you've kind of familiarized yourself here, take a look at your interfaces and cable up. Straight through here from the router to the switch. Doesn't matter the switch port because we're not doing VLANs. Router to router. Crossover cable between the two here. Pay attention to Ethernet 01 to Ethernet or Gigabit 001. Over here on this router, Gigabit Ethernet 000 into the switch. Again, it does not matter the switch port because we're not doing VLANs. Once I have that cabled up and I have it powered up, which I do, I'm kind of looking at it. I have everything cabled and powered. I'm going to console into my first router. So I'm going to start off with the 2811. I'm going to console into my 2811. So first thing I'm going to do, just like normal, we'll do our enable, we'll do our config T, and I'm going to give this thing a host name. And most of us are now learning the host name is important to let us know what device we're plugging into. So 2011, that's my 2011 router, and I'm going to say Ipv6, so I know it's my Ipv6 lab. After that, okay, we're now going to start configuring the interfaces. So I'm going to work my way down through. So I'm going to select my interface, Fast Ethernet 0/0. Once I'm here, I'm going to say no IP address. The reason being, we're not using Ipv4. This command, by default, is an Ipv4 command. So we're saying no IP address. We're now going to say Ipv6 enable, because we want to do Ipv6 on this interface. And then we're going to set the Ipv6 address to, all right, scroll up here, 2011 router. Here it is right here. This is the subnet we're going to use. We're going to say FC00, not O. O is not a hexadecimal character. A::A::A. Now, I can make this uppercase or lowercase. It does not matter. Okay? I do need the double colon on the end. So let me scroll down here. There's my network. I'm putting in the network of the subnet, if you will. I'm going to scroll down. So I'm plugging in the first half of the address. I'm going to do double colon because it'll fill in any extra characters necessary with a 0. We're going to say /64. I'm telling it, hey, here is the network portion of the address. The first 64 bits, here they are. I'm then going to do space, EUI. This is a unique identifier that is going to grab the Ethernet address and turn it into a unique identifier for the second half of the address. So we're specifying the network here with this. And basically the host portion, we're saying, hey, take the MAC address and fill it in as the host portion. That's what we're going to do. And it goes, okay. So it's basically going to build that address for us. We're going to say no shutdown. That'll turn that interface on. There it is. It's coming on. We're going to say exit. And we're going to do the other interface now. So we're going to say interface fast Ethernet 0/1. We're going to say no IP address. We're going to say IP version 6 enable. Then we're going to say IP version 6 address. And this one, I need to pay attention, is this guy right here. So FC00 :A::A::B, because this is the B network up here now. Double colon, I'll slide back down here. Double colon, /64. So we're saying this is the network part of the address, if you will. Space EUI 64. So we're now saying, hey, here's the network, the host portion, take the MAC address and make it into the host portion of the address, the last 64 bits. And then we're going to say no shutdown on this guy. Now this probably won't come online because we're connected to the other router on this one. All right. There is my first two interfaces on this router. I'm going to do a copy run start while I'm here. Oh, come on. Copy, run, start while I'm here. And I'm going to pause while I move my console cable to the other router. Actually, I can probably do that real quick. I'm going to grab the console cable. I'm now going to plug it into the other router. Here we are. I'm going to hit the enter key a couple times. I do not want to use the configuration dialog. Yes, I do want to terminate auto install. I don't want to use that. And now I'm going to configure the other router with that same information. We're going to let it boot. You can boot. So now I'm in the 4221. So enable, config T, host name, 4221, Ipv6. We're going to say interface on this one. Oop, get back here. Interface on this one. I'm still working on getting booted. There we go. Interface on this one. These are the gigabit interfaces. So gigabit 0/0/0/0. I want to pay attention to what I'm doing up here. This guy right here, 000, that's the one I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to say no IP address on this because we're not doing IP version 4. We're going to say IP version 6 enable. We're now going to say IP version 6 address. For this one is FC00:A::A::C /64. We're saying this is the network portion of the address. And again, I'm getting that from right here, right here. Here's my network portion of the address. There's the subnet right there. I'm now going to say, hey, use this special little Ethernet unique identifier and fill in the host portion. Take the MAC address and fill it in as the host portion of the address. No shutdown. I'm going to exit out of there. I'm going to do my other gigabit interface. So, oops, that looked a little messy there. There we go. 001. We're going to say no IP address on this guy. We're going to say IP version 6 enable. We're going to say IP version 6 address. FC00:A::A::B, because this is the link connecting to the other router right here. This is the link connecting the other router, so we're using A::A::B. So /64, we're saying, hey, that's the network portion. And now we're going to say, hey, use the MAC address and make it into the host portion for us. And we're going to say no shutdown on this guy. So if we give that a second, that should come online too. That's the link connecting to the other router. So while that's doing that, I'm coming over here and taking a peek and making sure all my blinky link lights are on. And they are. My blinky link lights are on. So we're up and started. So let's do a copy, run, start on this guy. You can do it. You can do it. All right. So we have these started. And if I do a show run, what I will see here is my configuration. I see no IP address because we're not using IP4, but I see IP version 6. And it doesn't show the full address for me. We'll look for that in a little bit. This just shows basically the network portion of the address. All right, we're started. When we come back in the next podcast, we'll do the routing protocol config.